My name is Professor Rob Attenstead. My novel, which is called Dr. Volkisch and the Stempelhorst Legacy, is a fast-paced thriller which tells the story of Dr. Kurt Volkisch, a former SS doctor who is reactivated after World War II to perform a duty entrusted to him in the dying days of the Third Reich. His duty is to recover Nazi treasures lost at the end of the war. Pursued by his enemies, the doctor's journey takes him from his adopted home in Conway County to destinations around the world. My book is used as a vehicle to explore the brutality of the Nazi regime, and I dedicate it to my great aunt, Ilse, who was a victim of Nazi persecution. According to past accounts from family members, Ilse was a very happy individual despite her disabilities. She had been born with spina bifida and so suffered from paralysis in her legs. In 1941, she was 40 years old and living with her elderly father, as her mother had died when she was young, and they lived in Saxony in Germany. As far as we know, her family received a letter from the authorities inviting her to attend a hospital for a new treatment for her condition. We can only imagine how she felt. Perhaps this was a wonder cure that would mean that she could walk unaided. In those days, people trusted their government implicitly, and most people would have grasped an opportunity such as this. She had no idea that she was about to enter the so-called Action T4 program. Guided by the Nazis' warped beliefs in racial hygiene and racial purity, the Action T4 program was set up to remove those who had been deemed unfit to live simply because of their disability. As part of this system, disabled people were transferred to so-called special treatment centres by the Community Patients Transport Service. This was operated by teams of SS men wearing white coats to give the impression that they were receiving medical care. Most patients were murdered within 24 hours of arriving at these places, usually in gas chambers disguised as showers, and their bodies quickly cremated. Families were sent letters explaining that owing to wartime regulations, it was not possible for them to visit relatives in these centres. For every person killed, a death certificate was prepared, giving a false but plausible cause of death. This was sent to the family along with an urn of ashes that could be anybody's ashes, since victims were cremated altogether. The preparation of thousands of falsified death certificates took up most of the working day of the doctors who operated these centres. Action T4 operated officially between December 1939 and August 1941, when it was shut down by Adolf Hitler after opposition from a handful of church leaders, as well as local judges and parents of victims who had somehow learnt the awful truth. Gas chambers from some of the killing centres were dismantled and shipped to extermination camps in occupied Poland. In late 1941 and 1942, they were rebuilt and used to murder Jewish concentration camp inmates. While the programme claimed over 70,000 German victims during its 2 years of operation, the killing centres murdered even more victims between the official conclusion of Action T4 and the fall of the Nazi regime in 1945. The total number killed, including during this covert phase, may have reached 200,000 people or more. I can only imagine my relatives' grief when they heard that their beloved daughter and sister had died. Their sorrow must have been hundredfold when they learned the shocking truth that the young woman was a victim of Nazi persecution, murdered by the brutal Nazi state simply because she had a disability. This is why I support Holocaust Memorial Day, the international day on the 27th of January, to remember the 6 million Jews murdered during the Holocaust and the millions of people killed under Nazi persecution and in subsequent genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. Thank you.